بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Amma ba'd, let's continue then inshallah with the tafseer of Surah Al-Baqarah. Alhamdulillah, we reached to Ayah 176 last time. So let's inshallah continue from there, Ayah 177. You can turn that on if you want. So, quick recap of Al-Baqarah's summary, if you like. That this surah is a Madani surah, and the central theme of this surah, as we have mentioned before, is if you look at the diagram, you can turn that on so you can see what we're doing. Is the transfer of responsibility of conveying the message to the Muslim Ummah. So let me just open up the diagrammatic overviews document. Here we go. And here we see, go to Surah Al-Baqarah, that the central theme here is, as we said, transfer of responsibility to convey the message from the Bani Israel, who have now been disposed of. They have been, if you like, removed from their responsibility, and now the Muslim Ummah has been given this duty. And we have seen this, the Bani Israel, we have seen that they have been the reasons for their dismissal. And we are now in this section where Allah Ta'ala, He is telling the believers to submit to the final messenger and act on all the commandments in order to fulfill your responsibility of conveying the message to the rest of the humanity. So we have looked at in this surah, Allah Ta'ala has told us first our vision. Our vision is to convey the message. Where is it? Here it is. Our vision is to convey the message in Surah Al-Baqarah. Shahada al-Nas. Shahada al-Nas. And Allah Ta'ala has told us that in order to achieve this, you have to do four things. You have to have Iman. You have to obey Allah, is Islam. You have to make infaq, you have to do infaq, you have to expend your resources, and you have to fight against the enemy, which is Iblis. So we are currently in the section where we have, we will look at now the essence of this Iman. Yes, what is Iman really? And the word given, we used here is bir. And the ayah we will start off with is ayah 177, which is also known as Ayatul Bir, the ayah of righteousness. What is righteousness? What is goodness? What is piety? So let's then inshallah look at this. And this is a very crucial ayah of the surah, and one of the very dear ayahs, very dear to me for many reasons. So, and a very lengthy ayah, Lays al-Bir, the ayah. And we will find that this ayah, it has many doors, or many avenues to become righteous. So let's make another diagram here. Abwabul Bir. Abwabul Bir, let's draw that. Bir is righteousness. And then we will find there are many avenues to righteousness. Yes, the first and foremost, we will find that righteousness is Iman. Yes, and then we will find it is, and we will add the things as we go through the ayah, so that inshallah it makes it more easy to comprehend. So let's begin with the recitation of the ayah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل والسائلين وفي الرقاب وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة والموفون بأحدهم إذا عاهدوا والصابرين في البأساء والضراء وحين البعث أولئك الذين صدقوا وأولئك هم المتقون. The meaning of the ayah: righteousness is not that you turn your faces towards the east or the west, but true righteousness is in one who believes in Allah, the last day, the angels, the books and the prophets, and gives wealth in spite of love for it to relatives, orphans, the needy, the traveler, those who ask, and for freeing slaves, and who establishes prayer and gives zakah, those who fulfill their promise when they promise, and those who are patient in poverty and hardship and during battle. Those are the ones who have been true, and it is those who are the righteous. May Allah make us from amongst these people. Ameen. You can very simply, easily divide this ayah into 4 avenues of birr, at least. Yeah. First is belief. Belief in Allah, the last day, the angels, the books, and the prophets. The second is to give wealth. Yes, to spend. This is a social aspect of righteousness, social. And then it tells us who to spend money on and what on. Then there is the prayer and which is ibadah. And then we find those people who fulfill their promises. This again is social. So they spend and they fulfill their promises. And these people are patient in difficulties, which means they have akhlaq, character. Strong character. Yes. So we can very simply see this. And social, we can say these are mu'amalat. Social interactions. So iman is aqidah, if you like, aqidah or iman. And then there is ibadah, there is mu'amalat, and there is akhlaq. So this one ayah is summarizing the whole teaching. Yes, the whole teaching. That what is righteousness, what is objectively right and good. You know, there are many concepts of goodness. People say, I'm a good person. You ask them, do you believe in God? They say, no, we don't believe in God, but I'm a good person. Yes. You ask a person, do you believe in prayer? They say, no, we don't pray, but we are good people. We don't hurt anybody. So what has happened is that people have selected, without realizing, their own standard of righteousness, mostly based on mu'amalat, on social interactions, and some aspects of character. Some, not all, some. And they have absolutely discarded Iman and Ibadah. Yes, so the modern mindset, the humanist mindset, is focusing on mu'amalat, social interaction and rights of people. Yes, and you should know that the human rights, or the humanist, what is their revelation? What is the wahi of the humanist, atheist? What book do they follow? The humanist, they follow the Charter of Human Rights. You know the Charter of Human Rights? They follow it. Sami'na wa ata'na. They say we listen and we obey to the Charter of Human Rights. Yes, as if this is a gospel, as they say. So they have their own religion. They say we are not religious. They do have religion. And they have a book. Their book is the Charter of Human Rights. Allah Ta'ala is saying goodness is not just aspects of what you think is good. Real goodness that actually means good to Allah and will give you reward is in this ayah, very comprehensive ayah. So with that, let's look at the ayah in more detail. ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب. Righteousness is not that you turn your faces toward the east or the west. So this is related to the previous section that we looked at in this surah, in Surah Al-Baqarah, where Allah Ta'ala mentioned the facing and the changing of the Qibla. Yes? And the people of the book, especially the Yahud, they created a big fuss about this, that these people keep changing their mind and they change their Qibla. Allah Ta'ala is saying that the form of worship, the direction is important, but it is not just the form that is important. Yes, so righteousness, goodness is not just that you follow the form, that you turn east or west. No, there is more to being righteous in the sight of Allah. Okay, so that's the context of the revelation. So what is righteousness? It is first and foremost to have Iman. Without Iman, there is no righteousness. Absolutely nothing. A person can spend their whole life doing works of charity, saving humanity, but the person would not be regarded as righteous by Allah. So righteousness is the one who believes in Allah, Iman. Iman billah. Iman billah, that Allah, He is a creator and sustainer and the Malik. He is the owner of everything and the one who has the sole right to be worshipped and obeyed. And they believe in the last day, the day of resurrection, the day of recompense, Yawmuddin, where Allah Ta'ala, He will give everybody what they deserved. Goodness will lead to goodness and badness will lead to badness, and reward and punishment will be given with justice. And they believe that Allah, He has created many creation, and one of them that He has informed us of are the angels, and they have been designated their roles and responsibilities, and their primary role is to guide, by Allah's guidance, the messengers to guide humanity. And we know that Jibreel alayhi salam, he is the angel that brings the revelation. And the people who believe in the books, yes, the books. It says here, well, kitab, although it is in the singular, but kitab means whatever Allah Ta'ala, He has ordained in His books, in His previous revelations, and in this revelation, the Qur'an. And essentially, when you believe in this Qur'an, you will believe in all the other prophets and messengers and all the other previous revelations. The revelations that we know of, the scripture, Mus'haf, the Suhuf of Ibrahim, and the Zabur given to Dawood, and the Torah given to Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, and Isa alayhi salam received the Injil. So we believe in all of these books, and we believe in all the prophets. We believe in all the prophets. لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله. We do not differentiate in between any of the messengers. We believe in all the prophets. Allah Ta'ala, He sent approximately 124,000 prophets, out of which there were approximately 313 messengers. And in the Qur'an, by name, Allah, He has mentioned 25 or 26 prophets. So we believe in all of them to be the righteous servants of Allah and the ibadullah, the servants, the worshippers of Allah, who were given the responsibility to guide people. This is the foundation of goodness. Yes, goodness. Without Iman, there is no goodness. Then the second aspect of righteousness has been elaborated here is to spend. Spend, yes, spend. So this is very deeply related to Iman. Yes, you spend on things that do not necessarily and immediately benefit you personally. Only when you have a belief in the hereafter that you would be rewarded for it. So these people, Allah tells, they give their wealth. وَآتَ الْمَالَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ وَآتَ الْمَالَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ. They give their wealth. They give the wealth that they have, despite the fact that they love the wealth. They have an attachment with wealth and money and belongings, and this is natural. There's nothing wrong with this, because if we didn't have this attachment, we would not do anything. So Allah, He has given us the instincts to be able to live on this earth effectively. But the people who believe in Allah and the last day and the hereafter, they will give this wealth despite the fact that they are attached to it. This is one meaning of ala hubbihi. The other meaning of and tafsir of ala hubbihi, which means despite their love, is for the love of Allah. Ala hubbihi means for the love of Allah, because they love Allah. They give it to please Allah. So they give their wealth to whom? Zawil qurba, those closest to them. Those closest to them, they will give their wealth, they will spend their wealth on them. And the best spending of wealth is upon your closest family. And then after that, your relatives. Wal yatama, and the orphans. The orphan is the person who has who is under the age of maturity without a father, because the father has passed away. So therefore there is no one to take care of the person. They give their wealth to the yatama, the yatim, the orphans, wal masakin, and the people who are in need. The people in need are those people who do not even have enough for their daily bread. Wabn as-sabil, and they give their wealth to the people who travel, the traveler. Because if the traveler is in need, because he now doesn't have his means that he has left at home, and he is in need or she is in need, then they will give their wealth, they will help them. And within the traveler, Wabn as-sabil is also the category of the guest. The guest has the right of 3 days. 3 days, the guest has a right for 3 days to be able to, inshallah, we'll take questions at the end, no problem. Guest who has 3 days and 3 nights for the best service. Now I'm saying that hesitantly because I'm a guest at somebody's house right now, but I have to speak the truth. So you have to serve us the best, inshallah, and Allah will reward you with the best. Ameen. And wassa'ilin, and those who ask, those people who ask because they are in need and they are desperate. Allah Ta'ala is saying, and one other category of firriqab. Firriqab is those people who are in slavery, to free the slaves. So Allah Ta'ala is saying, immediately after Iman, they have an attachment with their wealth, but because of Iman, they are happy to spend their wealth. And Allah has given a system of priorities of who should be given what wealth and how much, etc. in terms of, we will look at that later on, inheritance, etc. But here, the wealth should go to these people. And we will see later on in this ayah, this is other than zakat. Yes, zakat is fard, obligation to give But this is other than that. So the wealth that we have, in fact, the truth of the matter is that al-mal is the mal of Allah. Al-malu malullah. All things belong to Allah. He is the owner. Lillahi mulku as-samawati wal-ard wa ilayhi turja'un. To Allah belongs all that is in the heavens and the earth. He is the supreme sole owner. Sole trader, you heard of sole trader, partnership, businesses, etc. Allah Ta'ala, He is the sole owner. But He, in His infinite wisdom and mercy, He has given these resources to us for a period of time. So these people, they spend because this spending is an investment in the hereafter. They spend it just for the sake of Allah, ala hubbihi. They do not spend it for any other reason. They don't want even for people to thank them. There's an ayah in the Qur'an. What is the ayah? No. Wala shukura. They spend in the La yuridu minkum jaza. وَلَا نُرِيدُ مِنْكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا. When they spend in the cause of Allah, they say to people, we do not want from you any reward. We don't even expect you to thank us. We just do it for Allah's sake, that Allah Ta'ala, He would be pleased. And this is because of their iman in the hereafter and love for Allah. So this is a second category of righteousness, bir, which we said mu'amalat. Socially, they spend their wealth, and this is there are many wisdoms in this. Allah Ta'ala, He has put in everyone's wealth the share of the people who you are closest to. So this is a very good social welfare system Allah Ta'ala, He gave us, to take care of each other in order to be rewarded in the hereafter. The hereafter is the primary concern. Many people, they get overexcited and they say, oh, look at the economic system of Islam, etc., which is fine, that's true. But the economic system of Islam is based on Iman in Akhirah. Iman in Akhirah. Unlike the economic system of the capitalist. The capitalist, the Iman of the capitalist. What is the Iman of capitalist? Yes. The Iman of the capitalist is the maximization of wealth. Increase in the wealth in the dunya. And the Iman of the believer is maximize the pleasure of Allah and maximize the reward from Allah in the hereafter. So it's completely different. Yes. So these people, they will do this. And so the third aspect then of righteousness, very comprehensive, is ibadah. Ibadah. Ibadah is now the third aspect of being a good person in the sight of Allah. And this is highlighted by two aspects of the worship of Allah. وَأَقَامَ الصَّلَاةَ وَآتَى الزَّكَاةَ. They establish their prayer. Establish the prayer means they will pray with all the rights of the prayer. They will pray with all the conditions, fulfilling the conditions of the prayer, of the tahara, of the timing, etc. And they will pray as they should pray, as Allah has said, and the Prophet ﷺ has prayed. And they establish the prayer as a communal activity by building the masajid, because they realize that it is the most important act, which is the collective worship of Allah. وَآتَ الزَّكَاةِ. And they give the zakat. They give the zakat. Now, this, of course, this can mean the zakat that we know of, which is the 1/40th of your nisab, of whatever, not nisab, sorry, this is 1/40th or 2.5% or whatever saving you have, etc., over a year. This is fard. And as we mentioned previously, the spending that has been mentioned is not fard as zakat is, but it is expected from the believers. So their ibadah is salah and zakat. وَالْمُوفُونَ بِأَهْدِهِمْ إِذَا أَحَدُوا. And then when it comes to society and their mu'amalat, again, their interactions, they will make sure that they fulfill their promises. When they make a promise, they will make sure that they fulfill a promise, because they know that inna ahda kana mas'ula, your ahd, your promises that you are making, they would be fulfilled, they would be questioned. This is different to the mindset. So we have to understand these things. This is very different to the mindset of the person who doesn't believe in Allah and the hereafter, but is very trustworthy or fulfills his or her promises when they do business. Yes, the motivation there is that if I am trustworthy and honest in my dealing, then I will attain more business. I will be a reliable business partner, or I will be a reliable service provider. So the end goal is dunya. Yeah, and sometimes the Muslims, they become over impressed by looking at, oh, look at these people, they are not Muslim, but look, they are very good, they fulfill their promise. Yes, and they do everything by the book. Yeah, they do everything by the book, but their book is not the book of Allah. Their book is dunya. The book is this dunya. The more good I am, the better I will be able to benefit from this in this dunya. But Allah Ta'ala is saying that these people, they fulfill their promises because they know they will be accountable in front of Allah for the promises that they make and their upkeep. And the final aspect of righteousness given here is character, their akhlaq, yes, their character, because they have iman and they have ibadah, amalus salih. So I want to just highlight something. Iman and all of these two things, they're amal salih, righteous deeds, yeah? And here it mentions sabr. So hopefully you can see now the relationship here is iman, amal salih and sabr, which is related to Surah Al-Asr. Okay? Amanu wa amilu salihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. These people have sabr, patience and steadfastness in times of difficulty. Why? Because they are inviting to the truth. Yes, they're inviting to the truth. That's why they have to now remain steadfast. وَالصَّابِرِينَ فِي الْبَأْسَاءِ. They are patient and steadfast in difficulty, like poverty, وَالضَّرَّاءِ, and hardship, or when they are harmed or they are unwell. وَحِينَ الْبَأْسِ, and in the time or at the time of battle as well, they are sabirin. As-sabirin now, it is in what we call mansub. But it should have been marfu. It should have been as-sabirun. As-sabirun. Yes? But it has been mentioned as-sabirin. So the Tafseer mentions the mansub form of sabirun, which is sabirin here. It has been used to show that Allah is praising these people. Yes? To show the greatness of these people, to show their value in the sight of Allah. They are sabirin. They have been raised because of their steadfastness despite all difficulties and opposition. Why? Because they had iman, they did righteousness, and they called to the truth. They did da'wah ila Allah. And now they are faced with difficulty. Allah Ta'ala is saying, these are the people, أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا. These people are true in their claim to say we believe. So iman is not just belief with the tongue or in the heart. It is belief in the heart to testify with the tongue, and then to act. These are all actions. Righteousness stems with belief, but it has to have actions. وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُتَّقُونَ. And these are the people who are truly people of taqwa, the people who really fear Allah, and the people who are really serious about saving themselves from the punishment in the hereafter. So this ayah, it gives us a beautiful summary of what is objective righteous, what is good objectively. Yes, so we should be able to very comfortably, with the Qur'an's guidance, present to people in our day and age that, look, good is not what me or you might think. Goodness, real goodness, objectively, absolutely, is what Allah has said in this one verse, verse 177 of Surah Al-Baqarah. We then move on to the next ayah. And as I mentioned, this is really a summary of righteousness. And then the rest of the surah, you will find there is detail. There is detail regarding iman, regarding spending. In fact, will come. Ibadah, fasting is going to come now soon. Hajj we mentioned already. Yeah. And akhlaq, the steadfastness against Iblis, the jihad, all of this will come. So in a way, this surah is encapsulating, this ayah is encapsulating the rest of the surah, and now we will see different aspects of this righteousness. So the first aspect of righteousness that Allah Ta'ala wants for this Muslim community is that the life of a person is muharram, which means it is, what's the word I'm looking for? Sacred. Sacred. Yes, nobody can take the life of anybody. Qatl is one of the most greatest sins, to kill. Allah Ta'ala is saying righteousness will stem in your society by making sure that you honor and you respect people's lives. So Allah Ta'ala mentions, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْقِصَاصُ فِي الْقَتْلَى الْحُرُّ بِالْحُرِّ وَالْعَبْدُ بِالْعَبْدِ وَالْأُنْثَى بِالْأُنْثَى فَمَنْ عُفِيَ لَهُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ شَيْءٌ فَاتِّبَاعٌ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَأَدَاءٌ إِلَيْهِ بِإِحْسَانٍ ذَلِكَ تَخْفِيفٌ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ وَرَحْمَةٌ فَمَنِ اعْتَدَى بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ فَلَهُ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. So the meaning of this ayah, given here, O you who have believed, prescribed for you is legal retribution for those murdered, the free for the free, the slave for the slave, and the female for the female. But whoever overlooks his brother, the killer, anything, then there should be a suitable follow-up and payment to him with good conduct. This is an alleviation from your Lord and a mercy, but whoever transgresses after that will have a painful punishment. So this is talking about qisas. Qisas. Qisas means you follow something up with something the same. Yes. Allah Ta'ala is saying He has ordained for you now qisas. Fil qatla. 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 This word qatla. Qatla is the plural word for those people who are murdered. Maqtul. Maqtul, person who is murdered. Qatla is the plural of maqtul, murdered. People who are murdered, Allah Ta'ala is saying there should be retribution. There should be like for like, justice. Everybody's life is sacred in the sight of Allah. Al-hurr bil-hurr, if a free person, yes, commits the murder, then the free person should be killed, because there was the custom in the time of the revelation. The people before the revelation, they had their own customs. Their custom was tribal customs. They would say, that if your tribe, because we are superior tribe to you, yes, if your free person kills one of our free persons, then we will kill more free people because, for example, we are superior. So one of our people is equal to 10 of yours or 5 of yours, so we take 5 lives. Or they would say, oh, you are inferior. Yes, you are inferior to us. So if you kill a slave, our slave is better than your slave. We will kill your free person. So Allah Ta'ala is saying, no, the person who has committed the murder, this person would be punished. وَالْعَبْدُ بِالْعَبْدِ, and if it is a slave, then the slave would be. And وَالْأُنْثَى بِالْأُنْثَى, if a lady has been killed, then the lady, if a lady has killed, then the lady would be killed. Yes, and you would not retaliate by saying, oh, if a man is killed, because this was the custom, if you kill our man, then we will kill 10 of your women. No, you can't do that. This is not justice. Allah Ta'ala is saying, you have to be just. فَمَنْ أُفِيَ لَهُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ. But this is the first aspect. If somebody commits murder, the first punishment can be that the person is killed. Capital punishment in Islam. Yes. But فَمَنْ أُفِيَ لَهُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ شَيْءٌ فَاتِّبَاعٌ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَأَدَاءٌ إِلَيْهِ بِإِحْسَانٍ. But if you forgive the brother, you say, no, we forgive those. So the people, the family of the deceased, murdered, they have the option of saying, well, we don't want to kill this person. We will forgive him for the sake of Allah. Okay, this is another option. The third option is, we will not want this person to be killed, but we will ask this person for the blood money. Yes, recompensation or compensation. The blood money is 100 camels. 100 camels. And just to give us very approximate understanding, 1 camel is equal to 10 shares of a qurbani. So let's say 10 sheep. So if 1 sheep is 200 pounds approximately, let's just very approximate. Yeah? So 1 camel is 2,000 pounds, and 100 camel are 200,000 pounds. So 250,000. Yeah, I'm just very, very rough estimate to give us the scale. So the person has the option to either demand, the family of the deceased, the murdered, have the option to either demand the killing of the killer, murderer, or to forgive, or to ask for the blood money as a result. But then it should be given properly, fully, and it should be accepted as well, without any hard feelings. So you can't take the money and then kill the person. Yes. Allah Ta'ala is saying, ذَلِكَ تَخْفِيفٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَرَحْمَةٌ. This, Allah Ta'ala, is an alleviation. Takhfif means He has made it easier for you, and a blessing and a mercy. What does it mean? ذَلِكَ تَخْفِيفٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَرَحْمَةٌ. One, this is compared to the previous Sharia of Musa alayhi salam, where they did not have the option, to ask for blood money. Yes, they didn't have the option. Allah Ta'ala is saying He has made it easy for you, that if there is a murder, then you can, in your society, you can ask for the blood money. Easy for you, to save you. The other is, Allah, He has made it easy for you by giving you the right to decide. The family decides, because they are the most vulnerable and they are the most affected. And Allah has made this Sharia easy for the Ummah. فَمَنِ اعْتَدَى بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ. But if a person then transgresses after this, so the person takes the blood money, but then he goes and kills the other people again as well. So this is i'tida. Yeah? This is, you have transgressed, you've gone over the limits فَلَهُ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ, then for this person would deserve a very painful punishment in the dunya and in the hereafter, because the person has ridiculed the Sharia of Allah, the command of Allah, and he has ridiculed the life of the person whom Allah He has sanctified. And Allah Ta'ala mentions this very, very profound ayah, وَلَكُمْ فِي الْقِصَاصِ قِصَاصِ حَيَاةٌ يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. And there is for you in legal retribution saving of life, it says, O you people of understanding, that you may become righteous. And there is for you in legal retribution life. Yes, hayat, meaning that if you follow this procedure and this Sharia, you will save the lives. You will save the life. Because when a person knows that the law is that I will be killed if I'm killed, then the person would think many times before he or she murders anybody. Yes? And then in this there is life, because this, if it's just capital punishment, yes, that's not enough. Allah Ta'ala in His wisdom, He has said no. To minimalize or to neutralize the ill feelings, He has given option to the family. So that if they want revenge, they will get the revenge. Yes, but if they want the money, that's there, or if they forgive, that's there as well. So in this aspect, in this way of living, then you will find that murder as a whole will decrease. And this will mean that there is life for you in this, because of the whole procedure. And unfortunately, because humanity doesn't follow this guidance, so the so-called human rights activists, they are against the capital punishment everywhere. They want to eradicate capital punishment. They want to rehabilitate everybody. Yeah? Because they think they know better than Allah. Yes, and you can see the damage that's causing throughout societies. So Allah Ta'ala is saying, no, this is your way. And subhanAllah, there are options. Allah is giving the options in this. So the murder has been mentioned, and the qisas, to show that this is righteousness, is to sanctify life. And then the last two ayat will take 3 ayat. The next section is about the wasiyah, the will. You write a will. Allah Ta'ala says, كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمْ إِذَا حَضَرَ أَحَدَكُمُ الْمَوْتُ إِن تَرَكَ خَيْرًا الْوَصِيَّةُ لِلْوَالِدَيْنِ وَالْأَقْرَبِينَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ حَقًّا عَلَى الْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah has prescribed for you that when you are nearing your death and you have a substantial wealth you will leave behind, you should make a will for your parents and those closer to you, as it should be done nicely, appropriately. This is the right and duty of the muttaqeen, taqwa. Now this ayah was revealed before the ayat of Surah An-Nisa, Surah An-Nisa or Al-Ma'idah? Surah An-Nisa. Surah An-Nisa, where the inheritance law has been given. Before the inheritance was given, yes, this was the hukum, that if you fear your death, then you should make a will to say this much of my money should go to this, this and this. But after the warasa, inheritance law, has been given to us in Surah Al-Nisa, and the categories have been given and their shares have been given, this is no longer valid. It is mansukh, abrogated. Yes. However, the Prophet ﷺ, he has told us that you can make a will from your whatever you will leave for those people who are not in the category of inheritors. Yes, could be other relatives, etc., or whatever else. For up to 1/3 of what you will leave. So the maximum you can give, if we make a little pie chart, pie chart. So if this is 1/3, and this is 2/3. So this you can still, if there are some things to look out, but you can still leave as a will up to 1/3 of what you will leave behind for other than, because this is all for the inheritors. You can't go beyond that, inheritors, yeah? Okay, is it clear, yeah? I hope so, inshallah. But then some hadiths mention that better to not give more than 1/3. And then some tafsir mention that you should do this by the consent of the inheritors, etc. So Allah Ta'ala is saying that this is what you should do with your wealth. And then the code of conduct regarding the execution is فَمَنْ بَدَّلَهُ بَعْدَ مَا سَمِعَهُ فَإِنَّمَا إِثْمُهُ عَلَى الَّذِينَ يُبَدِّلُونَهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. If somebody then changes the bequest, the will, yeah, after they've heard it, but they changed it, yes, to other than what the person actually willed or had said, then Allah Ta'ala says He is hearing and knowing, meaning you would be held accountable for this. فَمَنْ خَافَ مِن مُوصٍ جَنَفًا أَوْ إِثْمًا. And if the person who is witnessing the will of the person, yeah, at the time of death, and he fears that, this person who is making this will, he is being a bit unfair, yes, he is going too much towards one person or the other, then he should try to rectify that, help the person to realize this. Or if he feels that this will lead to sin even, of going beyond the Sharia, then فَأَصْلَحَ بَيْنَهُمْ, then he should try to reconcile the situation such that if the person's will was to be executed and it was unfair, then this would cause dissension between the person and the people affected, yeah? So if you try to reconcile that, then this would stop that from happening. بَيْنَهُمْ, is all of them. فَلَا إِثْمَ عَلَيْهِ, and then there is no sin in this if you try to persuade the person who is doing this that no, this would be better for you. إِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Indeed, Allah Ta'ala, He is all forgiving and merciful. So this shows us about the will, and it talks about qisas, retribution for murder, and the main part of today was Ayatul Bir, which is what is righteousness. If you are righteous, then you will, as the other ayahs tell us, you will make sure that you will protect the life of people. They are sacred, and people's wealth is sacred. And if I have that, I don't know if I have the Sharia, I have I think a poster here on the objectives of the Sharia. The objectives, these are called Maqasid al-Sharia. Maqasid al-Sharia is attainment of welfare and prevention of harm. So it is to protect religion, deen, to protect life, ayat, intellect, aql, progeny, nasl, honor, ird, wealth, mal. So we can see that we have looked at life and wealth in these two ayat, which is the objective of the Sharia. And then inshallah next lesson, we'll start to look at the ayat, the section from 183 up to and including 183 to 187. This is the one place in the Quran where the ahkam of fasting in Ramadan have been mentioned all together in one place, and we will inshallah look at that bi'iznillah ta'ala.